The answer is very, very simple. And I think of it in a very different way. I think of it as we have built a narrative as Americans that the Middle East and that South and brown people in the Middle East and South Asia are all terrorists, and it's war-torn countries, it's countries that just fight about everything all the time, and it's dangerous and this, that, and the other. We need to go back and read about what Kabul was like, what Damascus was like, what Islamabad, what Kabul was like, Damascus, what all of these beautiful South Asian cities were like, not only like in South Asian and Middle Eastern cities, what not only like way back, like in history, but even in the 50s and the 60s. I mean, Beirut was known and the Beirut's in Lebanon was known in like the 60s as being one of the most like beautiful cities in all the world. And now it's, unfortunately, it breaks my heart. It's torn. It's torn by war, and it's torn by attacks and terrorism. And, you talk to a lot of people about from the Middle East, not only from the Middle East, but people from South Asia even, who grew up in cities like Delhi and Bangalore and Islamabad and Lahore. And they'll say, when we grew up, that city, the cities we grew up in were the most, like, we thought of the most beautiful things, beautiful mosques, temples, just clean streets, like, not a lot of pollution in the air, just beautiful. I mean, Bangalore was known as the Garden City, and the reason I'm bringing up Bangalore is because that's where my parents are from, so I have the most experience with that. And they talk about just the infinite amount of parks and greenery and how the streets were super clean and all of that. And now, like, Bangalore is just looked at as a concrete jungle. I mean, you can't get from 1 mile to the next without 4 hours of traffic. Like, that's what it is. But that's what we have to do for the Middle East, is we have to change that narrative and realize that the Middle East has not always been a war-torn country. It's not a war-torn space. It's not always been this crazy fucking, terrorism breeding ground. That's not the case of what the Middle East is. The Middle East is actually, in fact, one of the most beautiful places in all of the world, even still today, even besides the fact that it's war-torn. And to do this, to change the culture, I encourage you guys to read and watch videos. Watch this. I mean, I'll put it down in the link below. The Yes Theory video about Thomas spending 96 hours in Afghanistan. Shout out Yes Theory. That video is done so beautifully, and I think it portrays the culture of Afghanistan beautifully. I mean, you see these wonderful mosques and citadels that were built in like the 3rd century. I mean, Afghanistan and like India and Pakistan and the Middle East and South Asia are all cultures that literally have been existing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And there's so much rich with history, beautiful monuments, rich culture. I mean, and I think it gives you watching that Yes Theory video just gave me a better idea of who the Afghan people really are. And it's kind of it reminds me of like South Asian people in general. I mean, just very hospitable people who are extremely kind. And, you think of Afghani people, you're like, as Americans and as what we're taught, oh, it's war torn. Oh, half the people are terrorists. Oh, like, it's not good. No. Afghani people, I mean, you watch this video with Thomas, all of them are inviting him to have tea, to eat dinner with them, to smoke hash. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful experience. And I think you realize that when you travel and when you consume these videos and when you consume an actual culture, that not everybody is caught up in this war, is caught up in the Taliban and all of this stuff. Obviously, I'm not encouraging you guys to go visit Afghanistan at this point. It's a very dangerous place. Don't go there. But watch the videos. Consume the culture as best you can. Eat the food in Little Kabul. Like, that's what I say to everybody who has skeptics about, the way that a certain country is. Go experience the culture in whatever way that you can. And that may be eating the food. That may be getting Afghani food for takeout tonight, right? But that's how I feel like we can change the narrative as Americans about these countries, is we can talk about, we can have dialogues about what's going on in these countries, but also we can consume the culture. We can, read books like The Kite Runner. I have my copy right here. I'm going to be rereading this book again. It's one of the most, I read this book my sophomore year of high school, and it has had such a tremendous impact on me. I love this book so much. I became fascinated with Afghani culture after I read this book. And the way Khalid Hosseini describes Kabul in this book is beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. And the second half of the book takes place in Fremont. So that's kind of cool. But read, watch videos, watch documentaries, be interested in changing that narrative of not thinking about a country just because of what you see on the news, but thinking about the full picture, thinking about the food, the culture, the monuments, the watching videos like Yes Theory's video, which I absolutely love and will make sure I link down below. Change the narrative, guys. That is what the key is, I think, for us. That what we can do is, yes, inform ourselves, educate ourselves on what's going on in Afghanistan, and do what we can, donate, all of that stuff. But what we can do for our minds and what we can do for the better picture of everything is we can think about these things. We can think about these things and change the narrative and just educate ourselves to the point where we can fully understand that, okay, wait, hold on. I don't know where I'm going with that. But we can, I mean, let's educate ourselves and consume the culture and become fully involved in it so that as best we can. And like, you know, I'm not saying integrate yourself into Afghani culture. Like that's the only way you can change it. But changing the narrative can start out with small things like trying the food because it humanizes an experience, right? Like once you experience something, once you eat their food, once you watch a video, once you meet a person from the country, suddenly your perspective shifts, right? And little things can shift your perspective drastically. And my point is basically, let's take little steps to not thinking about the Middle East and not thinking about Afghanistan as this terrorism breeding ground, but rather what it used to be, the beautiful city of Kabul, reading books like The Kite Runner, like A Thousand Splendid Suns, like, you know, 3 Cups of Tea by Greg Mortensen, which is about Pakistan. It changes the narrative tremendously. And I'm going to be doing a lot more reading. I'm going to be asking a lot more questions, doing a lot of research on the internet, talking to more people, opening up my mind, because that's something I want to do. And I think that's something that we all owe it to ourselves and owe it to the people who are going through the struggles to, you know, change that narrative and not just, and humanize the people that are going through that. Because I think we look at infographics and all this shit and we see fucking graphs and statistics. But at the end of the day, everybody's a person and we're all human. And we all are going through this same shared experience of humanity. Although our lives may be different and our backgrounds may be different, everything, I mean, the one shared experience we have is humanity and that we live life. And it may be very different than other people, but as a first world American, you know, as a person living in a first world country who has a tremendous amount of privileges, I think the best that we can do is change the narrative about these countries and really bring back what they're known for, which is just rich, beautiful, amazing cultures. Anyway,